Okay, so thank you for joining this session. My name's Tom Blades and I am the head of XR for DreamTech. DreamTech, I'll just go a little bit forward. Who are we? We're historically a video production team, and we've been heavily involved in systems integration, streaming, live streaming. And during the pandemic, we had to pivot quite heavily from creating in-person events or capturing in-person events to doing more remote and hybrid, as pretty much everybody had to. Now, my role within that team was to try and find innovative ways to try and immerse the audiences. So we went through pretty much every single platform that you can think of. We did a lot of polling and all those sort of things to try and immerse the audience. And we started using more immersive technologies such as XR. So this team was born probably about 18 months ago now, and our curve has been, well, it hasn't been a curve, it's been more sort of vertical sort of ascent. We're working on different things all the time. What I'm hoping to do today is actually just show you some of those case studies, show you some of the ways in which we've been harnessing the power of XR, and perhaps you can get some ideas for your future events and how you might be able to use them. You can see here, this is just a video that we've taken from one of our sort of loyal customers when it comes to pushing innovation boundaries, and that is Bentley. And we work quite heavily in the automotive sector, but we also work in quite a lot of other fields as well. So, first of all, before we get too far into it, just a brief overview of what XR actually is. So XR, extended realities, we are looking at a mix of either augmented reality, which is digital content on top of a real world, usually using a device of some sort, like a handheld device or a smart device. Mixed reality, which is putting those two things overlaid on each other, usually wearing a wearable. And then virtual reality, where you are immersed in a completely different world and you are able to interact with those worlds. This is the real interesting question for me. So the metaverse, we all want to use it in our marketing. We all want to say that we've taken our first steps into the metaverse. But what does it actually mean? Is it a new reality? Well, not really. You know, I think there is a metaverse out there, and if you want to go and buy a square footage of it, it's going to cost you a hell of a lot of money for what I don't know you would use it for. But all of that technology we just mentioned, all of those XR products are under an umbrella term which people are using, which is this metaverse. So when people are saying that, when you're seeing that in events, when you're seeing that in technology, it usually encompasses the three things that we were saying before and not the actual physical metaverse as such. Now, DreamTech is in a very prized position in the fact that we have a link to Meta. So if you go into any of the event spaces or video production spaces in North America or in Europe, you'll find DreamTech people. If you look in any of Meta's XR teams, you'll find DreamTech people. So we feel that we're close enough to see exactly what the core business is doing with the metaverse and how we can use it with our customers and how we can sort of project that on to different sectors. So what is the XR roadmap? So one of the things that we kept saying about this XR roadmap is that we were looking at probably about 5 years before the adaptation of some serious technology that would make it fundamentally part of our lives. Now that is changing all the time. Some of the technology we're expecting to see in 3 years, we've seen at the end of this year, Quest Pro, some of the mixed reality things that Quest Pro has, more AR, mixed reality style headsets, Lenovo, all joining the game way quicker than we thought that would do. And what we're really waiting for is we're waiting for a link between 5G to be able to stream to headsets, and that immediately makes the need for those headsets to be much smaller and have to do less of the heavy lifting. So as soon as the 5G net becomes kind of usable for everybody in the UK, we're going to see a rapid change, even more of a rapid change in this XR roadmap. So these are some of the things that we've been working on along this roadmap, and you can see it's 5 years, but as I mentioned, it's already changing quite dramatically. We've done training, learning development. You know, there's an abject need straight away to use XR within learning development. Lots of simulations, a lot of the ability to practice things over and over again. But very much so in things like tours, events, spaces, collaboration, sales. We've done shop fronts, digital twins. we're involved in all of those things that you can see there in the purple, and they're the things that we think are kind of the right swim lanes to be in when it comes to XR. So to come on to a few of those, just start off with our partners at Intel. Intel are a customer that we have recently started working with, and they had this installation in San Francisco for outside lands, and in there they had a TikTok house. So they used some XR staging to be able to project onto LED walls a nice parallaxing background, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. But also we added this to it for the event, so some AR filters, the ability to take what they experienced in that tent away with them as they moved around the conference and beyond. And again, for events, something that you can take with you. Everybody likes a USB stick, or everybody likes a pen, or whatever it might be that you can give away. You can give away an AR filter. You can let them retain something of the identity of the event. Obviously, AR, as we mentioned before, usually uses a device, like a smart device or so on, a second screen. This is something that we have used a hell of a lot of in the past 12 months, and we are aligned with a few VR artists. So we have some artists that use Google Tilt Brush, they use Gravity Sketch. These are all free applications that you can get in a normal headset to produce something like this. So what you're looking at here is a sustainability performance, live performance that a VR artist did. So they started with a black screen and a model of a car on day one, and by the end of the weekend they created these two, well, this is one of them, but they created two worlds, two islands. We've also used this when we went to Saudi Arabia. We created Riyadh in a snow globe. So over the course of a period of time, they can see these happening, sort of being built up on big screens. At any point, we can put like as an expo event, for example, we can put people in headsets and they can walk around the art installation. And again, it's a really effective way of kind of taking a step into the metaverse as such, taking a step into sort of XR and really giving your audience a real view of what it might be and how creative that this can be. We find that we've done a hell of a lot of events, really just making people aware of what the metaverse is, and therefore this type of technology has been fantastic to be able to do that. The VR cinema. So we've used this several times. Most prominently, recently we've used that with a fashion show. So they had a fashion show, runway show, and then at one point they were instructed to put their hands underneath the seats, pick out a VR headset and pop the VR headset on, and they were able to activate, using a system called Showtime, multiple videos through the headset. So they could experience everything that was on the stage, and then they had some 360 content, 3D 360 content they were able to absorb via the headset as well. Everybody at the same time collectively, and then they put the headset back down again. So roughly within sort of an event sort of style arena, you would probably be looking to do about 15 minutes of this. Anything more than 15 minutes at the moment, people haven't got the duration. There's a lot of people feeling sick, motion sickness, that kind of thing. People not used to wearing the headsets, etc. But in this environment, 15 minutes is fantastic to kind of give them kind of the next steps into XR. Then we come to this one. This is the one that's kind of been the most sort of utilised within what we've been doing over the last sort of 12 months. VR Worlds. So Meta have released, or they've been partnering with a company called Horizon. They make a Horizon Worlds application where users of the system or developers of the system can develop worlds that people can go into. They can be shop fronts, they can be games, they can be football pitches, they can be whatever you want them to be. But you're able to invite people into those event spaces. You're able to take people into a virtual world. Now, this system here that you can see being used is a system called Glue Collaborate. And we like to use this one because it gives us, as the content creator, the biggest ability to adapt what the content looks like and the maximum amount of interactions. The other reason why we really like it, and you'll see this with the new Quest Pro as well, and with Horizon, is that they've got expressive avatars. So when we think about how you use XR, especially VR in particular, if there's like the avatar side of things, is it believable and is it realistic? Well, it's not realistic in the fact that these are kind of cartoony style avatars that you're looking at, but they're believable because they're using expressions. They're using the eye tracking inside the Quest 2 or inside the Pico Eye, and they're able to relay that information into a virtual world like this. So if you roll your eyes in your headset, we get to see that in the collaboration space as well. And actually, within about 15 minutes of wearing one of these headsets, you kind of forget it's an avatar because of the expressive nature. Now, there are loads of these around. There is AltSpace VR, Spatial. There's all these different applications that you can upload worlds to. And we create worlds for all of them. They're built on a system called Unity, which is a game development software. But it allows you to do several different things. You can either create a space from scratch. This is an event space that we created for Google. So Google Next, one of the biggest conferences that happens every single year, created a breakout room session for people to join. Now, quite crucially about the way that we design things and the people that we partner with is that we always have the ability to enter via a desktop browser as well, because there won't be full adopters of this technology. You're going to get the most out of it from being in a headset, but you can still partake and you still get a good experience via a desktop as well. So we created this event space. It was an auditorium that allowed for people to watch content. So every hour, content would fire up on the screen and kind of move around, and people will be able to kind of go in there and talk to each other. If anybody's ever done it, it's a fantastic thing to do. Try out Horizon Worlds. It's really amazing. The spatial audio, for example, in these areas means that if you go into a space and somebody's far away, they're quiet, and as you get closer to them, they get louder and louder. If they're off to the left, you hear them off to the left and off to the right. And cognitively, that's much more friendly than being on a Zoom call. It's much more friendly than being attached to some sort of video conferencing system. In video conferencing in particular, if you think about the way that we're arranged all in boxes, you see a lot of mirroring, because everybody feels that they're very close to each other. And actually this gets rid of that because you are the avatar, they are. You can spread out, you can be creative, you can move around the space and find your own little niche area. And that's really useful. It's a really useful tool to make it getting people involved, to immersing people. If you look at the new Google Meets, their G Suite, one of the things that they do is while you're talking, they turn your camera off. And that's because naturally in a Zoom call or a video conference system, or if you're doing some sort of remote event, when you're talking, you'll naturally look at yourself. And that's not good. Yeah, you don't find that cognitively anywhere else apart from in that space. So if Google are onto it, which is very good of them to do so, but actually here, you don't have any of that problem because you are the avatar. We also create digital twins of spaces. This is a Jaguar Land Rover dealership. We've done product launches within these areas. We invite people to come into them collaboratively. They can walk around the car, they can talk, they can chat, they can even have a coffee in the VR space. So these digital twins are fantastic. There's kind of a 50-50 split at the minute. It's whether you are going to create a space that everybody recognises and is able to take themselves to, and there's a bit of transfer of the way of familiarity, or you can have tea on the moon. Yeah, so there's like these two sort of 50-50 splits over, do we make it something that's really out there, or do we make it something that's not? We just recently helped create one for Salesforce as well. So Salesforce have an expo event. It's like a festival, like Glastonbury, but in VR. And you're able to move around those spaces. And there's some activation points as well. So you can watch a video, you can watch a keynote speech, and afterwards you can capture data and you can interact with different systems. So, one other thing that we've been doing quite heavily is we have been creating virtual sets. So you might have seen The Mandalorian, for example, the Star Wars thing, or anything you can pretty much imagine now from a video production point of view, uses either green screen technology or even better LED technology, as you can see here. So we are partnered with Disguise. They are pretty much the leaders in all of this. They've been very heavily involved in event space design and stuff for a long time, but real-time rendering, the ability to have a movable tracked camera in a space that gives you kind of that feeling of parallax. And when I mean parallax, it means as you move, the background also looks like it moves as well. So we are the content creators that create this type of stuff, and we're also the systems integrators that can come in and put the technology in. Disguise are the backbone, if you will, of that technology. So working with these people, we were able to create amazing backgrounds that allow you to do things on remote events, live events. You know, we've just seen something happen in Qatar for a fashion show that we've just done there. Huge, massive screens with the ability to parallax and have track cameras within that space. The most amazing thing is if you've got CEOs, if you've got people that are not used to being on camera, but you want them to interact with a green screen or a virtual component, in this scenario, they can see what they're looking at, which I don't know if you've ever done any green screen filming with a CEO and they go, can you look over here authentically at where there should be a person? And they're like, yeah, they look completely vacant for the next 25 minutes, or you know, they shoot it and they've been looking the opposite direction, or whatever it might be. This is the ability to be able to put themselves in the situation, actually interact with those areas. Another thing that we've been doing is doing MetaHuman Live Link. So this has been fantastic for getting a diversity mix within sort of businesses, making sure that they are sort of being respectful of diversity, but also if you have somebody that is not used to being on camera, if you've got somebody that doesn't want to be on stage or has those kind of those issues, then we can do a MetaHuman Live Link to a remote event or a big screen or wherever it might be. And we can change the person as they go through live as well. So MetaHumans is an input from Unreal Engine. You know, it's a gaming technology, but the ability to create whoever you want to have there and also do the live link is something that we can support. You actually can do this via a smartphone app. I would definitely go for Live Link, have a look at it, download it, and have a look how it works. But you can do this here. Plus, if you are capturing any content, you can have multiple takes of that content, multiple takes of the audio from the CEO, whatever it might be, and you can cut out all the ums, the ahs, you can take out all the things they said wrong, you can squeeze it together and then paste it onto a MetaHuman and it looks seamless. So again, there are some real benefits for using this type of technology and you know, for events style and video capture. So this kind of brings me to the crux of what we feel that we do well, and this is a term that we're really trying to coin as best as we possibly can, and that is minimising the digital waste. I cannot tell you how many times somebody has come up to me and said, I've bought 100 headsets and I've spent £800,000 creating this module. What can I do now? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Because you have to make sure that the assets that you design can be used in multiple situations over and over again, minimizing the digital waste. It's the only way to scale using this technology is to make sure you minimize the digital waste. For example, the digital twin that you see is used for a collaboration space. It's used for a virtual set. It's used to do normal green screen with a backplate. We can create a walkthrough that goes onto Google Earth with it. But there is multiple places that we can use it. And now, whenever that JLR come back to us and say we need to do some filming, we've got the ideal location. We don't have to go back there. We're cutting down on costs long term. We're very keen on minimising the digital waste, making sure that we don't create pilots, we just scale down the project and then we're able to ramp it up as soon as you need to use it. So that is probably the most important take home. And don't buy any headsets because the technology is going to change so rapidly. Rent is the best thing to do. So I'm pretty much done. But if you want to talk to us a little bit more, there's our contact details. We're also over in the corner in the cheap seats, so you can come and talk to us over there. I'd love to chat more about all these different technologies and loads more that we've been involved in as well. So yeah, thanks very much.
Lovely, thank you very much. Before you leave, if that's all right, there's a couple of questions that we'd like to run through. So if anyone does have any questions as well, we give you an opportunity in a second to pose them. The first question, And we've had a few sessions about the metaverse yesterday as well. It seems very much like big brands, big business, global brands leading the way. How can smaller businesses, maybe with smaller budgets, kind of get involved, and how do you see that happening in the future?
Yeah, so I think there's quite a few low-hanging fruit when it comes to small businesses getting involved. First of all, there's 360 3D video. It is so easy to capture now, so easy to produce, that you can create it en masse. You can mature your audience into, I put a headset on and I can actually get a benefit from wearing it, and I get a more immersive feel, etc., etc. 360 3D video is 5 times the immersion of a normal video, mainly because you can't second screen, you can't take the headset off. So I think that's a really good one. And then the other thing is that you can create Unity packages relatively easy now. You know, there are task-based things you can do. The digital twins are not as expensive as you would imagine them to be. Collaboration spaces, there's lots of those collaboration areas that we were just looking at there, which are free to use. You can have up to a certain amount of licenses. And again, getting out there, doing some meetings with your clients, getting them used to that sort of process, definitely somewhere to go.
Amazing, thank you. And the second question, how do you envisage live environments and virtual worlds interactive? Kind of thinking of situations like major sporting events, festivals. Do you see a world where they can be kind of working in synergy side by side?
Yeah, so we're working at the moment with some punditry people. So a lot of punditry avatars, a lot of being able to have mixed overlays of real world environments, also using XR content. We did a thing for RAF a while ago, which was like a virtual battlefield. I know it's different for sports, but very similar in the fact that they would open it up and analyse what was happening in front of them. The Quest Pro, which we see this ability to have the mixed environment with the colour pass-through, is perfect for that, because it allows you to kind of step into a portal of what could possibly be in a real-world environment.
Amazing, perfect, thank you. Were there any other questions in the room at all? No? Perfect. Well, thank you very much, Tom. Really great presentation and great to have you here. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.